Hey, what's up, you guys? Jeff Cohn here with another episode of the Team Building Podcast, where we bring you top team leaders, broker owners, and thought leaders from across the country. Today, I'm offering you a solo episode to kick off 2023. We are covering the big picture. Big picture training started several years ago as part of our team group coaching platform, our modern coaching for the modern agent through Elite Real Estate Systems. We found this to be the best topic to kick off our year of content in the team leader product that Elite Real Estate Systems offers. We have 12 main core topics that go with all of the 12 months of the calendar, the first month being big picture training. Throughout the year, we cover a lot of topics like lead generation, lead conversion, recruiting, thought leadership, career visioning, goal setting, metrics tracking, leveraged roles, zero basing your marketing and admin costs, and the list goes on and on. We also offer agent training every Monday and Wednesday. Agent training is specific to the topics that are applicable to your agents in your market today. Mondays is always topical. Wednesdays is always dialogue training. All of these trainings are live and recorded and indexed. So once you become a ERS coaching client, your agents will have unlimited access to the live trainings as well as the recorded trainings. You as the team leader will have unlimited access to the team trainings live as well as the indexed recorded trainings. And for free, we throw in investor training. We plan to continue to do so in 2023, which shows you exactly the strategies that me and my business partner have followed to grow a $25 million portfolio in and around the Omaha metro area. We also had kicked in 2022 additional ancillary business trainings for your mortgage lender, your title closer, and your insurance agent to bring more value to them. And Elite Real Estate Systems will continue to bring more value to agents, teams, and your vertically integrated companies like mortgage title insurance in the coming months and years. For more information about Elite Real Estate Systems, go to growwithers.com. You can set up a demo call today. You can check out upcoming events. We have a workshop in Omaha in March. We have a team building summit this summer and a lot of other amazing free giveaways at growwithers.com. Without further ado, I'd love to jump into topic today, the big picture. So I started my real estate career in 2006 as an agent. I sold full-time for 5 years from 06 to 11. Learned a lot, failed a lot, tried a lot of things. I sat in lots of open houses. I sat in model homes. I sat in condos. I called on expired leads for sale by owner leads. I door knocked, did open houses. I think I mentioned that. Just listed, just sold flyers. I used Mojo Dialer, Vulcan 7, the Red X, Boomtown, Sierra Interactive, a custom website that nobody's ever heard of before. I was an individual. I was a community team. I was a family team with my name attached to it. I was Omaha's Elite Real Estate Group. And then in 2011, we launched our team. The team grew 70 to 700 sales in 6 years. And we grew fast because we visited over 100 teams and brokerages across the country. And we started seeing patterns. And a lot of their failures were similar and a lot of their successes were similar. So we adopted all of the successes and we eliminated as many of the failures as we could. We, of course, failed forward and we grew. In 2011, I added 6 agents. 2012, those 6 agents all left the organization. And in 2012, I added 12 agents. In 2013, I added 12 more. Of course, our net agent gain was 24, but we didn't keep all the same people. We've had lots of agents come and go over the years because not everyone is the best fit for our culture, and that's totally okay. The big picture training that I'm going to get into today, as far as the podcast is concerned, is specific to creating the right culture, the right leads, the right lead conversion process, and using the right systems and strategies to help everyone in your organization be aligned. It's so that everyone has a different goal, but the same mission, so that everybody can realize their dreams and your company, your team or brokerage becomes the vehicle that allows them to do that. And big picture, we're going to talk about having team leaders that lead by example, team leaders that offer thought leadership, that offer coaching, guidance, one-on-one training, accountability, and so on. And so in the next 10 to 15 minutes, I'm going to take you through exactly where I am today. I'm not going to spend as much time about talking about how we got here, but just simply where we are. And the audience members can listen to this and have an idea of where you could potentially go if it's something of interest in your world one day. And or maybe you decide that this isn't for you and you're happy being an agent that sells or being a person that hasn't even gotten their license yet. That's up to you. So, as far as the big picture of where we are as of this recording, we are in December of 2022. I have a real estate brokerage in Nebraska. We also have a mortgage company that covers 5 states with the intention of being in 48, an insurance company that covers about 5 states with the intention of being in 45 states, and a title company that covers 2 states with the intention of being in around 30 states. We believe we will be able to expand all of that in the next couple of years. We believe a lot of that expansion will be done inside of Elite Real Estate Systems with current Elite Real Estate Systems clients, as well as podcast listeners on this podcast, the Team Building Podcast. In the coming months, we'll have some really big updates and announcements for your area, so stay tuned for those. The big picture for us as it pertains to real estate teams that are inside of ERS, Elite Real Estate Systems, as well as KW Elite, is to help those teams that we call teams and or indies that run a satellite location off of our brokerage that has multiple teams. Our goal is to provide them with the best systems and processes and culture, contract to close processes, marketing materials, tech stack to make them successful. The first starts with culture. So as a team that we ran for 10 years and now as a brokerage, we would always meet once a week, and Monday was the time we would meet. So we'd bring everyone together and we would cover any to-dos, any tasks of the week. We'd make announcements. We'd encourage people to attend upcoming trainings. We'd recap the previous trainings. We'd have agents that actually attended the training stand up and speak to how the trainings went. We'd also speak to each individual agent's KPIs for that previous week. Each agent in our organization defines the life they want to live and creates a vision board that goes along with it. And then we allow them or require them to stand up every week to report to the group based on their goal so that they could live and lead the life of their dreams based on their vision board. How many calls would they have had to make? So we actually have figured out in our world, if we make 150 outbound calls, we'll convert 1 sale. So if an agent wants to do 2 sales a month and 24 sales a year and net $100,000, then you would just take 150 times 2, which would be 300, and that would be the calls for the month. They take 300 divided by 4 or 300 divided by 22 days, and they could figure out how many calls they'd need to make each day. So on a weekly basis, someone might stand up and say, hey, my call goal was 100 call attempts. And that's not just a phone call. It could be a text, an instant message, Snapchat, however they want to communicate to their database. But they'd stand up and say, hey, my call goal was 100, and this week I made 127 calls. And then they would say how many contacts out of those calls they had with decision makers, how many appointments they set, how many appointments were realized, how many contracts were signed, listing agreements or exclusive buyer agents agreements, how many people bought or sold a house, how many hours they spent prospecting. And we did that consistently over 10 years with 25 to 30 agents at a time, and we tracked all of that analytically. And over the last 10 years, we sold over 2,500 internet leads, over 10,000 houses, over $1 billion worth of real estate, just as our team, not including our brokerage numbers, which we'd be into the billions at this point. And we started seeing patterns. We knew that 5 call attempts would equal 1 contact, and 10 contacts would equal 1 appointment, and 3 appointments would equal 1 sale. And that's where we get the 150 calls equals 1 executed contract. We knew in our market what our average sales price was on a listing versus a buy side. We even knew based on every lead source how much we were making. But where the rubber met the road wasn't just understanding what each person's goal was and helping them define their why, and then determining how many calls they had to make. It was training the agents to have the confidence to make the call on a weekly basis. So after the Monday meeting was over, we always would offer topical training on all the topics agents asked for: contract negotiation, the listing agreement, the buyer agreement, multiple offer situations, top rejections, short sale strategy, new construction strategy, anything and everything under the sun. We'd create topics around it. And that is now what are the topics trained on by Elite Real Estate Systems. And we started growing. We grew 200 to 300% the first 5 years. We went from 70 to 700 sales in just 7 years. We were one of the fastest growing, if not the fastest growing real estate team in history. If anyone grew faster, I'll give you a $25 gift card to the restaurant of your choice. Actually, a $100 gift card to the restaurant of your choice. If you grew traditionally in the residential real estate space, not including lots, we went from 70 to 700 sales in 6 years. So from a big picture standpoint, how did we do this? What did we learn after visiting 100 markets? What did we learn as we failed forward from 2011 to 2018, as we were then the number one real estate team in the world at Berkshire Hathaway? What we learned was the companies that were focused on the small little details consistently over long periods of time always won. It's the one thing that Gary Keller talks about. The small and simple things over and over and over and over obsessively is what gets you the wins. It's not looking for the big gold nugget. It's finding the tiny little flecks of dust and adding them up over time. And you'll come to recognize that it's not about your next transaction that makes you 3 grand. It's about your next relationship that will make you 100 grand a year in referrals, or the next agent you recruit that you know based on your numbers will net you $20,000 a year as long as they stay in your world. And taking it even further, it's about your company being the vehicle that allows those that are inside your company to live and lead the life of their dreams, check things off their vision board, replace those items with bigger visions, bigger goals, and help them on a daily, weekly, monthly, consistent basis do the activities necessary to achieve at a high level. So we all know that we can set the goal, but it's another thing to train to that goal. And so we would offer weekly training on Mondays topically, and then Wednesdays would be the dialogue that goes around with the topic. So if Monday talks about the listing presentation, Wednesday we would meet for an hour to role play the listing presentation. And we would actually set up scenarios where an agent is on a listing presentation talking to a seller, and then we'd have another agent pretend like they're the seller, and we would practice overcoming negotiation strategies, overcoming rebuttals and objection handling techniques. And over time, those agents that were nervous to go on appointments or nervous to make calls or nervous to knock doors or nervous to have open houses started to have more confidence. So the agent that said, I want to sell 24 homes, they then would go even further to say, out of those 24 homes, I want a third to be internet leads that the company generates to me. I want a third to be open houses, and I want a third to be my CrossFit box that I go to. They would be able to set a goal based on the numbers of sales they want to have and where those sales are actually going to come from. And all of us have heard of the old cliche, the 80-20 rule, where 20% of your input typically gets you 80% of the output. That is how we would set up our goals based on the last 12 months data. So if I knew that an agent spent 30% of their time in their CrossFit gym, but 80% of the deals came from their CrossFit gym, then our goal the following year would be that they spent more time working that CrossFit network. And I would propose that you look at where a majority of your deals came from in the last 12 months and put 70% of your time towards that lead source, and then take 30% of your time and spread it across your other top 3 lead sources or new lead sources you've never tried before. So you help people set a vision. You obviously create a culture for success. You help people create a key performance indicator, the activity they have to do to get a result, which is generating revenue, which is commission in our world, which then allows them to check things off their vision board. You have training specific to the activities that each individual agent want to do or need to do to be successful converting the leads that they said they needed to convert to be able to hit the income goal, to hit the life goal. And then you have accountability. You as a success manager and the thought leader of your organization, either yourself offer them one-on-one accountability meetings or you hire someone to offer them one-on-one accountability meetings. Elite Real Estate Systems does the training. We do the dialogue. We train team leaders, and we also do accountability. If these are things you don't want to do or don't want to have to hire out, we can do it for as low as $100 a month per agent. Again, for more information about Elite Real Estate Systems and how we can be a solution for your training for agents and teams going into 2023, go to growwithers.com. In that accountability meeting, we spend 20 to 30 minutes with each agent, and we check in on them with all of the activities they're supposed to be doing. Are you making your calls? When you go on those appointments, how are those appointments going? What kind of conversion ratios are you having? And we try to look for challenges that they're facing so that we know in what areas we could do a better job at training that agent. So if they're getting a lot of connects, but they're not getting appointments, how could we change the dialogue? If they're getting a lot of appointments, but they're not signing a lot of contracts, how can we change that dialogue? And in that process of accountability, we start to be able to shape each individual agent to become a better version of themselves so that they have greater results. And the goal inside of our organization is to take dependent agents and help them become interdependent agents. And then to take interdependent agents and help them become independent agents. And at our brokerage at KW Elite in Nebraska, agents become team leaders. Team leaders can graduate and become indies, where they have a satellite office separate of our market center or our brokerage that has a branch office with they become a managing broker and they can recruit teams ultimately like as if they're running their own real estate company or their own real estate franchise. We want to be the vehicle to allow everyone inside of our world to become the best version of themselves. And we as leadership don't want to hold people back. So far as I would say, and I have people listening today that are part of our world, if they don't believe that KW Elite is the vehicle to allow them to live and lead their dreams, they need to go find another vehicle. Just as I would say to our podcast listeners, if you don't believe the Team Building Podcast with Jeff Cohn is the vehicle or the training platform that's going to help you scale your team in 2023, you need to go find a different podcast. If I'm not the solution, if we aren't the solution, then go find your solution. And I say that with love in my heart because I want what's best for our listeners. I want you to change so that your life changes. I want to change so that my life changes for the better. And the only way we can change is based on the books that we read, the podcasts we listen to, and the people that we interact with, and then take that information and apply it and fail forward and apply new things to our business and fail forward. And the failing forward component, which everyone always says it but doesn't understand it, failure teaches you what not to do again. Failure teaches you to go a different path, and you go a different path, and you go a different path. And I'll steal the quote from, I believe it was one of the Caesars. I'm going to say Julius Caesar because there were a bunch of them. But he said, the obstacle is the way. And I believe I talked about this last month on my career visioning podcast. But oftentimes, the greatest obstacle for us as leaders and the greatest obstacle for agents and staff that are in our world is the biggest obstacle that they have in front of them. And everyone has a different obstacle. But for an agent, it might be calling their sphere. For an agent, it might be uploading their database and sending out one email or one text message saying, hey, the market slowed down, but this isn't time to give up. There's a lot of great opportunities out there, and I'd love to help represent you or anyone that you know of. And just choosing to set the ego aside and be willing to open your mouth and understand that your company, your team, yourself, and your agents could be the vehicle for their clients to help them get their next home or buy an investment home or start Airbnbs or anything you want to insert, and recognize that you're that conduit. You're the vehicle, the instrument that somebody can use to better their life. And that is the big picture. We bring in culture, lead gen, lead conversion, best strategy through our training, and then all of the systems and the tools that we offer. So today, we're still running Boomtown 11 years later. Boomtown for us is the best platform that exists in the industry. They do an amazing job at providing a front-end website solution and then the back-end client relationship management portal. Even if you don't pay for lead gen or care about internet lead gen, it's a lead conversion tool that the consumer, you place the lead inside of Boomtown, and you know every time they come out to look at houses, you know every time they want to find out what their house is worth, or they click on a link of a house that just sold in their neighborhood when they get an automatic email update. We are currently using Trello boards for contract to close. We use Dotloop for teams, and Dotloop does an amazing job on the Dotloop for Team platform for all of the e-signing. The Dotloop for Team product allows all of the admin to have access to all the agent's files every time they do an electronic file without the agent having to invite the admin to the file, and makes everything really simple and easy to put everything together. And we use Sisu for all of our electronic dashboards. It helps us with our KPIs, it helps us with our goal setting, helps us with gamification, helps us to track listings versus buy sides, the total of sales from the brokerage standpoint to the teams, to the agents, and everything just kind of rolls up into a master page. And there's a lot of other tech stacks that we'll get into this following month for the big picture topic. I always kick off the call the first Thursday of each month at 11:15 Central. And then Andy Cuny, my partner that's been in my business with me for over 10 years, goes down the rabbit hole. I always say I have the 30,000 foot view. He gives you the 10,000 foot view of the actual implementation and do's and don'ts for making everything we talk about come to fruition in your market. The Team Building Podcast is here to stay. We will continue interviewing top team leaders, broker owners, and thought leaders in the industry. We have a lot of our listeners who've reached out to us on our social media platform, Elite Real Estate Systems on Instagram, or me personally at Jeff M. Cohn on Instagram, to request authors, athletes, celebrities, moguls in the real estate space, in the commercial space. If there's anyone specific that you'd love us to interview, please don't hesitate to kick out their name to us, and we will reach out to them and let them know our audience is asking for them to come show up. We're averaging over 200,000 downloads a year from team leaders and broker owners. The thought leadership around teams and brokerages is limited. There's not a lot of people in this space that teach people how to scale a business where they can actually exit the day-to-day grind of selling and be a true millionaire real estate agent, as outlined in Gary's MREA Red Book in 2005, where you net $1 million a year working less than 5 hours a week on your business. Everyone wants to teach on how to sell real estate. We're bored of that message. Brokers need to stop that messaging. You can Google any topic you want or YouTube any topic you want. Everyone knows what they need to be doing. That's not the challenge. The challenge is building an environment that allows someone to exit and live and lead the life of their dreams, and building a business that allows agents to become team leaders and team leaders to exit the daily sales business to run a company, and give everyone the empowerment to not have to be a slave to your process. Shame on the traditional broker who's made people a hamster on a wheel. Shame on the traditional authors, the traditional podcasts, the traditional coaches who've allowed agents to stay slaves to the business and lose their lives. We are here to change the industry, to change the messaging, and to empower agents to be the very best that they can be, no matter what that looks like. If you want to be dependent, stay dependent. If you want to be interdependent, find an environment that allows you to do that. If you want to be independent, find an environment that empowers independence. And if you want to one day have an exit where you can sell your company and you can move on to something else, then so be it. Allow the messaging that you're receiving, allow the environment that you put yourself in to help you get to that point. And if you can't find it, keep searching. You can find it. It's going to be out there. And if it isn't out there, then you have to build it yourself. And that's why we launched KW Elite Keller Williams in Nebraska, with the intent to scale nationally and have hundreds of teams attached to us. Elite real estate systems will power the top teams in the nation. And we're very excited to be a part of your growth going into 2023. For more information about Elite Real Estate Systems, upcoming events, free content, go out to growwithers.com. And without further ado, thank you so much for listening. We look forward to our next episode. We'll see you soon.